Hey guys, in this tutorial I want to talk to you about identity theft and how you can protect yourself against it. We live in an online world and the reality is every day someone's identity is being stolen by online thieves. And this is a super important thing to understand because the chances are it's going to happen to you at some point in your life. So you need to know how to protect yourself against it. So what is identity theft? Well, basically, identity theft is stealing another person's name or personal details for the purpose of financial gain. Now, it doesn't always have to be for financial gain, but that's more often why they're stealing your identification in the first place. So this is a really serious topic because these are the sorts of things that can happen. Firstly, people can access your bank accounts. So if you are not careful with your bank account details, they can get into your bank accounts and basically take all your money. They can get access to your credit card, they can access your email. Now a very quick story here. When I was working at my stockbroking and financial planning firm a few years ago, we were getting emails, and this would happen once or twice every few months. We would get emails from what looked like our clients saying, "Hey Phil, could you please transfer $20,000 to my bank account? I'm on holidays at the moment. We've found something that we want to buy or do. Could you please transfer the funds?" And they'd give the bank account details, and I could have then gone, well, it's come from, Fred Smith's email address. It's the email he always uses to contact me. It sounds like his sort of voice in the way he's writing it. Yeah, sure, I'll transfer the funds. Now, fortunately, we always had this policy that we needed to ring a client before we transferred money to a new bank account. So if we had their bank account already on file and we knew that it was their bank account, then that would be okay. But in that instance, had we just gone, yeah, sure, and transferred the money to the new bank account, that client would have lost their money. And what was happening was hackers were getting into their Gmail accounts and other sorts of accounts, but particularly Gmail at that point in time. They were looking at all the emails that the person had sent to us as a firm previously, and they were just using the same terminology, the same words to say, hey, could you please transfer some money? And so they're getting very, very, very clever. So you do not want people getting into your email and then sending off messages to your friends, to family, or to your financial advisor, pretending that they are you. You've then got, they can set up loans in your name. So if they've got things like your tax file number and they've got things like your name, your date of birth, where you live, your address, etc., they can actually go and set up afterpay loans, or they could set up zip loans. They could go spend all that money and then you are left with the bill because it's all being sent to your house and you go, oh, I've got no idea what's going on here. These are the sorts of things that can happen. They can apply for government benefits. They could even apply for a HECS against uni now. That would probably be a bit more easily traced. They could use your social media accounts and put things up there that you really don't want to be putting up there. And they could use your tax file number. And this is a really serious one. They could use your tax file number to earn a whole stack of income, and then that could be difficult to trace. So there's some reasons why you've got to be super, super careful with your personal information. So how do we protect ourselves against this? Well, here's 8 things. There's obviously a list about 500 million things long that you could be doing, but here's a list. Firstly, make sure you check all the privacy settings on your social media and those sorts of things so that the information that anyone can get and see is very, very limited. Now, I've put a link in the notes below to a government fact sheet which talks about how you actually do this. Then, create strong passwords. I talked about this when we were looking at bank fraud in one of the modules when we were talking about bank accounts. Go back and have a look at that. But basically, your passwords should either be a connection of words put together that only you know, or ideally it would be a password made up of uppercase, lowercase, symbols, and numbers. Then what we have is, and then you need to have different passwords on all your online accounts. Don't just use your pet's name with a 1 in front of it, or a 2 in front of it, or a 3 in front of it. You need to have different passwords for all your accounts. Secondly, don't connect with strangers. If you don't know who they are and they're wanting to connect with you on Facebook or LinkedIn or Pinterest or whoever, don't connect with strangers. This is the way they get in. They find information out about you. They find out when your date of birth is, because one day you're saying, hey guys, it's my birthday today. And then they go, right, now I know what your name is, now I know what your date of birth is, and I've figured out where you live as well. So they're well on their way to gathering a lot of information about you. Avoid using public computers. So if you go to the library, make sure that you're going to the library. You never, ever use those sorts of computers for really personal stuff, for looking at your bank account details or anything like that. And make sure that when you're leaving that computer, that you actually log off whatever it is you're on and you clear the browsing history for whatever it is you looked up. Really important that you do this, because they could just go into the browsing history, they could click on where you've just been, and then the browser may have saved passwords or all sorts of things. You just do not want to go there. The same thing applies for Wi-Fi hotspots. Make sure you're never using Wi-Fi hotspots for accessing your bank account details, etc., because those aren't always secure. And then we go check your bank account statements on a monthly basis. Every month, at the end of each month, just quickly put your eye over your bank statements just to make sure there's nothing unusual on there. And then the last one is check your credit reports. And again, a credit report is something that's put together by the financial institutions in combination with the government that has pretty much all the list of loans you've taken out, your credit record, which is how good you are at saving and all that sort of stuff. So you should be checking that on a regular basis just to make sure that no one set up any loans in your name and so on. And I'll put a link again in the notes below so that you know how to do that. So there we go. If you do find there's any fraud on any of your bank accounts or on your email accounts, you need to contact whoever your bank is or whoever your email provider is, and let them know straight away. You then need to go in and make sure you change all of your passwords, and if any accounts have been set up in your name that you didn't set up, you need to close them immediately. So there we go, guys. Identity theft, some basics on how to protect yourself. Please be aware, this is a real risk. I'm not just making this up. This is a very, very real risk, and it's only going to get worse as technology increases and as we move more of our lives online. So just do these basics and you're going to go a long way towards protecting yourself.